I hope the connection's okay, by the way. I know it keeps freezing sometimes. Yo guys, if you've got questions about the project, put them in the comments. I will answer them first, and then at the end we'll just do general questions if you've got them. And I'm sorry about the shaky hand. I don't have anything to keep the camera held up, so I'm just doing it with my hand right now. I'll put it around 2 seconds. Yo Rudy, yo Devaro. Do you want me to start with the lead first? Okay, so let me know if this is good, if you can see it and stuff. Okay, right, I'm going to start with the lead. It's a Serum preset actually, and you can hear it now. And this is actually really simple. The whole track is really simple, there's nothing crazy going on. This main lead is actually just the one layer. It's a bass sound from Serum. I'm not sure the pack, but I didn't actually have to do any changes. But if you want to, if you're not a sound engineer and you want to change the sound simply, you can change here the wavetables within Serum. So you just pick any of those and it'll change the sound dramatically. So if you're not feeling inspired or whatever, you can just click random ones and you get crazy sounds. Yeah, sorry about the shaky hand. I've actually not got anything to hold this up. So it's just going to have to be the hand for now. Is it better like this? For you guys, let me know. Is that better? Jeez. Okay, I'm going to flip around to the side. Yo, sorry about the connection, this is my fault. I don't know why the Wi-Fi is so bad. Okay, I'm going to show you what I had behind the leads because the lead just wasn't strong enough by itself. So I had to have some other crazy shit behind it just to make it sound a bit thicker. And you'll be able to hear that now. So this is super simple. All it is percussion elements. And you can actually hear it's pitched up there because what I did was I pitched it down because the lead is going down, so I had to pitch everything to go with it or it would sound a bit weird. I'll take you through what I did here. First layer, get a pluck. It's got a really nice attack. The main thing about these percussions is you need good attack, because the lead didn't have great attack. You'll hear with this one. All these sounds are doing the exact same thing, just there for the extra attack. Now you probably won't hear that in the track, but if you listen to the track and listen carefully, you can hear those pluck sounds in the background. What I did as well, as you can see here, is I've panned it, so the main lead is going straight down the middle, and the percussion is going left to right like this as it pitches down. I mean, it's unnecessary, but it's cool. There's a lot of things in this track which you don't need to do, but I did anyway, just for that extra kind of weird sound, because it's a weird track for me. It's not one that I've made before this style, it's a bit different, so I just tried some crazy shit and it ended up working. I'll show you the EQ. There's nothing crazy going on here. This is what I normally do to all my leads. I use Camel Crusher, and I actually use the British Clean preset. All this does is compressing. It's just giving that sound a lot of power. Sausage fattener, just giving it a bit more fatness and colour. Obviously a bit of reverb. Quite a lot of reverb because it's quite an airy kind of atmospheric drop. I've actually put a little bit of delay on as well, just to give that sound a little bit extra of a wide feel. Stereo shaper as well, doing the same thing. And here is the EQ. I cut the lows obviously so it didn't conflict with the bass line, with the low end. Boosted the mids a bit in this one because there's no sub kick or real sub bass that you can hear, so I just boosted the mids so it could fill up the spectrum kind of thing, you know, keep it a thick sounding lead. And another cool thing that I've started to do in all my recent tracks is in this, I don't know if you guys know what this is, glitch. I use it all the time, it's great for tape stop effects and stuff, but I don't know if you can hear this, but what I did was use the delay. And when the delay hits on this beat here, you'll hear the sound kind of vibrate almost. It sounds really cool, I'll show you that. I don't know if you could hear it there, I'll play it again, but it sounds like the sound kind of comes out and vibrates almost. Again, you don't need to do that, but it's cool to have these little things in there because some people will pick them out and, you know, think, oh, that's pretty cool. It just gives it something extra. There you go. The sidechain, I'll just check it here. Kickstart, I always use this. It's super simple, you literally click of a button and you've got sidechain. I actually normally use the nice and tight, but for this track, nice and tight was too pumpy. It wasn't, you know, it was too jumpy kind of thing, so I wanted to use something a little bit less harsh. So I used the free punch and just left it on 100%. Another thing about this drop, you will hear a weird sound where the lead kind of reverses on itself. This is the reason why I actually made this drop, because I was playing around in this new sound bank for Serum, and you'll hear it, it's very, I don't even know, because if you look at the piano roll, I'm not doing anything crazy with the melody, but there's something in the LFO in Serum, which this preset was made, which makes it kind of reverse. It's really cool. I'll let you check it. As you can hear it there, there's no note playing here, but somehow the preset decides to reverse itself and it just gives this weird effect. It's another one of those things where it just happened and it was a happy accident. I'll show you inside Serum. This is where this happens, here when it starts to reverse. So it's something, again, that was just an accident but was pretty cool. Do you have any other questions about the drop leads, or do you want me to move on to something else? Just let me know. I think the important thing to go to next is the bass line. It's pretty simple, but it's quite effective. So I've just got the kick. It's got a little bit of a low end. It's from the Kashmir pack. I'll show you this. Just that one. And I also took a Kashmir kick here, which is this sound. So I found this sound, I thought the sound itself was really nice, but I did not need the low end. I didn't want a sub kick in this track. So I took all the low end out. As you can hear, you'll hear it from the start. I'll play it with no low end taken out. It's a real big thumpy big room kick, and I just didn't want that, but I did want that kind of gritty sound on top. So I removed it so that there would be no clashing when I brought the other perks in. And the bass line is actually just kind of a dirty Dutch tom, but you've got two things. The first one, which is this. But I didn't want to do that the full way through. I wanted something else as an answer, something different, something a bit weird. So I went for this kind of bass house sound. Which, again, it's just something a bit different, a bit weird. Just to give it that extra big groove, you know, so it's more of a groovy track. And then obviously I added these dirty Dutch toms on top of toms just to kind of stick them both together so they both sounded like they fit together. Cool, so are you bouncing the drop leads and then using them in the project? No. Sometimes when the CPU gets too bad, I will bounce the leads as a WAV and then drag them back in, because Serum uses a lot of your CPU, so it can be very stressful trying to produce with you know, that crackling laggy sound. So sometimes I do that, but in this project I didn't need to because I only used one layer of Serum. As you can see here, this is the drop leads pattern. Everything's in here. As you can see, the layers. Serum number 5 is the main lead, and the other things are just percussion sounds, which are panning from left to right throughout the drop, so it just kind of gives more of a weird stereo kind of feel. Any other questions about it? Can you explain your background, not bass? If you're on about the master channel, okay. This is something probably none of you will know about me, but my master channel is always empty. For a release like this, as soon as revealed we're interested in the track, I didn't master it because I knew that Hardwell would be mastering it, and Hardwell's masters are amazing. So I didn't need to master it myself. A lot of my bootlegs I don't master as well. But if I know it's going to be a label release, I don't actually master it myself properly, because I know they're going to do a really good job of it. Is your bass from a sample pack? Leo says. I can tell you all of the individual sounds. So I'm not actually sure what this one's from, but if you want sounds like this, Retro Hands. All of their packs are amazing for these Dirty Dutch, Moonbaton kind of plucks. This bass house sound is from Gerald LaFunk. I'll show you the pack now. It's got some crazy sound. I got most of the sounds from the drop. You guys can see that. And it's called G-Bong. Obviously what I did here was pitched it down so that I was in key with the track. What you should do is not click tonal. This is something that I learned recently. I would click tonal and then reduce the pitch, but if you go pro default, you won't lose the attack, because FL Studio seems to distort things when you change the pitch and stuff. So make sure you do the pro default whenever you're pitching down vocals or sub kicks or whatever, because you don't want to lose the initial sound of the song, sample. The growls, Yanis, a lot of you guys have commented on the fact there's a lot of cashmere sounds in here, and there is, but the most important thing, if you're going to use samples which are well known, you've got to try and layer them up with other sounds or EQ them so they just sound that little bit different. The growls, so I've got stabs as soon as it drops on every beat, but I've also got little cashmere growls, the dubstep fills, but I've chopped them up. I'll let you hear those now. So here you've got the stab, as you can see. This is a very well sample from the higher place bass stab. So if you have that by itself, it can sound a little bit cheap because a lot of people have used it. But when you add different layers on top of it, so you've got this one, that growl, that dubstep kind of growl, on top it just transforms the sound, it makes it sound more unique, you know. So it's just that one on top of the bass stab. The cashmere dubstep things, but what you need to do in this is try and chop them up. What I do with samples is sometimes I'll take drop leads and chop them up in different positions and drag them around, just experiment. If you need like a fill or something, especially with bass house construction kits, you'll get a lot of nice warp sounds that you can literally just cut out of the track and use in your own. Like this one, you can see I've cut them up. Just cut them up, and these sounds they don't stand out much in the track, but they do help. They're just those little details to try and make it sound more professional, you know. Why do I layer kicks? I used to make Big Room and just use one sub kick, but that sub kick would be used by millions of other people, you know. So it got to the point in Big Room where you needed something different. And even if I'm not making Big Room now, like with this, I would not class this as Big Room. There was no big sub kick, but I did have a sub kick and EQ the low out of it because the extra grit on top of the kick, it just makes it sound better and more unique. So that's a tip if you are going to make Big Room tracks with the sub kicks. Try and be creative, use other sub kicks on top, but make sure you cut out all the low end that you don't need, so that you get the nice gritty sounds from the sub kick, but you don't get all the low distortion from that sub kick and the one you're using. Where the vocals from? Yeah, the vocals are pretty cool actually. I think you mean this one. I'm not actually sure where it's from. Here was I went crazy on the reverb because I wanted it to sound really airy, and you'll notice that in the break. It's very spacey and atmospheric. It's not much melodic kind of appeal. Ridiculous amounts of wet and decay on, so it would decay for 14 seconds right now. That's why you can hear it just continues going on, and that just helps. Something, if you're going to make a breakdown and you're worried it feels a little bit empty, what I use are really good for this. Just little kind of weird sounds, but they fill up your mix. So if you ever think, oh, it sounds a bit empty here, use sounds like this and overbearing for the other sounds. Matan, do you really think there's a difference between FL12 and FL11? Yes, a massive difference. FL12 is amazing, but I won't ever switch. I tried switching and it was too complicated to get plugins in, so I decided to stick with FL11. But if you're gonna make the switch, I would say do it, because a lot of my friends use it and they say it's amazing, so you should use it. Play the drop without the leads. Okay. If you have any more questions about like the drop, I can go back, just let me know. One of my favourite sounds, actually, I think one of the guys from Rude Lies is watching this. I used the little sound from the Rude Lies pack. You'll hear it throughout the song and the intro and everything. It's this one. Can you hear it? I've turned that up really loud, so in the track it's quite in the background, it's low volume, it's not standing in your face, but and everything, you can really hear that. So when that tom comes in, you can see that I cut the sample, so you can hear that it kind of stops when that tom hits. So it's all about groove, and in this track it is about the groove. So it's about just cutting the samples so they're not fighting over each other, they've all got their own space. Codrea, do you start with the drop or melody when you make a new track? Every single time it's the drop. In the beginning I would just make 5 drops. I would just be obsessed because that's where I got my fun producing. I just love making drops, especially when I used to make the old school big room sounds. But I still do that today, because if the drop gets me excited, then I'll finish the break in 2 minutes, you know. But if I start with a break, I find the breaks less fun to produce, because, you know, the drop's where the energy is and stuff. So I really like to start with the drop, but you can start with the intro if you want. It's just whatever works for you. The automations, yeah. I'm sorry about the project, by the way, it's super messy, but you can see all of these things here are the automation of the pitch. So what these are is the percussion sounds, which are going down along with the lead. So I've automated them all exactly the same. I automated the reverb wetness to come up. I'll show you that by itself now. I don't know if you can hear this here, but I've automated it up so that it just gets gradually more wet towards this part and comes straight back down. So you can hear it there. quite well, where it just kind of comes up, then straight back down, then comes up. Again, it's just little details that add to the groove of the song. Can you show us the making of the drop snare? It's literally, I think you mean this one. The end a little bit. As you can see here, I'm just fading it out. It's actually cut from a Mike Cervello track. It's a crazy, great sound. Any more questions about the track? I will show you this thing I did on the build-up. I'm not sure if you guys noticed it, but on the build-up, everything is getting wetter and wetter, so everything's getting more airy as it comes towards a drop, and then everything gets dry again at the drop. And something else which I did was stereo set. I automated that so that it would on headphones, you will be able to hear where it gets tight, and then as soon as it drops, it just lets go and goes super stereo again. It's again not something that you need to do, but it's pretty cool, and it just helps the drop to hit a little bit harder. Let me know if there's any more questions. Yeah, sorry about the lag, by the way, that's my fault. I don't know why. Let me know if you've got more questions about the track before going to just general questions. Automation, Terrence says. There really is no reason for it, apart from I just wanted it to sound a little bit different. Because those sounds that are being panned are just in the background anyway, I thought it would be really cool for them to just be going side to side as well as automating down. There's no genuine reason for it. It's just something that's a little bit different that I haven't really heard much before. Anything on the master chain? There's nothing on the master chain of this track. As you can see, there's nothing on there. Which plugin used for it to be unrevealed? I actually only use Serum, Silent, and Spire as my VSTs for my leads. That's it. I know there's some crazy ones out there, but I'm always too scared to try and learn new plugins. I'm so used to going to the same ones. But you can kind of get stuck using the same sounds that other people have used. So try and layer them. You know, pick one make and find other sounds which complement that sound. But obviously, you want them to be more in the background. You want one main lead to be at the front. Where can you send a demo? Send demos to my Facebook page, Olly James Music page. I'll check them when I can, and maybe do like a feedback live stream soon or something if you guys want. Tips for producers to get signed to Revealed, Matt says. all I can say is don't take it too personally if your track doesn't get signed. I was sending demos to Revealed for years when I first started, but never heard back because my tracks just weren't at the quality. You've just got to be patient with it, because like 3 years later I got my first release there, and it was my time. It was meant to happen then. You know, my sound got to that level. You've just got to literally keep producing music. Don't rush your tracks. Spend a lot of time on them, get them perfect, and just keep sending. Any more questions, guys? Any new ideas? Ultra is coming. There may be some ideas at Ultra, we'll have to see. Uma says, can you talk about the breakdown? Yeah, I can talk about the breakdown. It's pretty simple. Again, I talked before about the atmospheric sound. So you've got a lot of atmosphere samples, like this. And which is just an effects loop, which I chopped up. You've got the Kashmir stabs. So if you use them alone in a track, a lot of people say, you know, don't use these sounds, they've been used a lot. But if you add other sounds on top, it can just transform that sound to big. So I'll let the breakdown play. So here it's one of the most simple breakdowns I've ever made. Simple melody, you've got 4 main sounds, Spire. I'll play them each one separately. It's the filters on right now. So that one's a really airy sound. Trumpet sound, and then this sound, which is a pluck just to get the attack. And the most important sound is this. I think it's pretty unique. It's kind of a vocal sound, like Future House. Sound. The bass line is from Nexus, from the EDM expansion pack, I think. Yeah, EDM 3. It's called Rave Bass. Simple note with one glide. As you can see, it's going up there, it's gliding. The sound itself is pretty cool. I didn't actually need to layer that up, it was pretty cool alone. And that's pretty much the breakdown. Everything else is just samples, atmospheric samples. You can see there's a lot of it there. There's not much VSTs here. But it's all about the ambience, the kind of background sounds, just making it sound pretty atmospheric. Again here. So that's the breakdown, again, super simple. Got any more questions? My phone's about to die. Okay, fixed. I saw some question about who my favourite producers are. Right now, I would say my favourite right now is Mike Cervello. He's just got crazy good mix downs, really cool ideas as well. So he's definitely build up snares a lot. You'll hear that in this track. It is just his build up snare, which has its downsides because I should be using different ones just to make it my own. But in this track, I just used it to get the initial idea out, but it worked, so I kept it there. You can hear it now. So usually I wouldn't use the full thing like this, but in this case it just worked, so I kept it there. Just trying to do something different, you know. I've been producing big room now at the time in my producing life that I can produce other styles well, so I'm going to try some different stuff. There's a lot of solo stuff in different genres, so stay tuned this year for that. What sound card am I using? The Focusrite, as you can see. Yeah, it's really cool. I recommend it. What about your track Clap? Release that. This is a masterpiece. Thank you. There's going to be some details on that track really soon. Some good news for you guys. So keep tuned for that. Any more questions? Yeah, sorry that's shaky. I'm trying to hold the. Isaac says, how did you make the drop? Check the video after the live stream ends. I went through the leads and everything. I think. I'm not the biggest fan. I am looking to replace them, but it's what I started using, and I use my headphones 90% of the time. But you should be using 50-50 between your monitors and your earphones, so you can really see how it does really sound. Because right now, a lot of the time, I am hearing it on just my earphones, my headphones. What's the most difficult thing in the drop? For this genre of music, you've got to get a really cool drop lead. Electro house, EDM, big room, whatever, it needs to be different, because right now these sounds have been used 100 times before. So right now that's the hard thing, and really getting a cool bass line, because it's not about the sub kicks anymore, it's about the cool bass line. So that's the most important thing, I'd say. Any tips for a mix down? I would say never ever call a track finished on the day that you produce it. Always come back 2 days later, 3 days later with fresh ears and mix it down, because you'll hear a lot of things that you thought were perfect just don't fit. Also solo a lot of things. So here in this drop I would bypass the main lead. To make sure everything there was sounding tight. Effect. Then I would add the lead in on top and mix from there. Why did I name it Code? It was actually called ID for a long time, even when it was signed. So Me and my manager went through and just picked, well, came up with some cool names, and it seemed like code would work the best. Yeah, sorry that's so wobbly. Any more questions? If you guys have like any other questions that aren't to do with the project, just let me know, I can answer them as well. Sappy says, it honestly doesn't matter what you start using, as long as you keep off in the beginning. So as long as you just pick and learn everything about that VST, you'll be fine. So just pick which one you want. How many hours for the project? Maybe I'll show you. Wow, this project, 7 hours. Quickly before, but as soon as I came up with that drop idea, I finished it super quickly. Everything just seemed to work because I was so excited about the drop. But again, this is a very simple track. You will hear there's nothing crazy going on, but it does just work. So I would recommend that you'd never rush a track, but in this case I think I was just so excited about it that I could finish it really quickly. Any more questions? Any giveaway for a sample pack or some presets? Maybe a sample pack of my own and make my own sounds for it. That would be pretty cool. The ones I did before, I released sample packs of other people's samples that I was using right now. They went down really well. They seem to help you guys a lot, having the samples all in one place. So maybe with some drops or something like that. Apart from big, yeah, I'm actually looking to produce all different styles, even like some more commercial stuff. Expand my knowledge as a producer, you know, you don't want to make the same thing all the time. Someone asked how to do the stereo on the master. I'll show you that right now. This is the way I do it. There will be other ways. As you can see, the automation is there. You can see the master. It's this knob moves as I automate it, so it's this one. But make sure when the drop hits, it goes back to the middle, because then it's just going to be unnecessarily wide or mono, you know. So make sure to automate it that way. Just right click on it. I'll show you here. Right click, create automation. How do you make a kick flat? Try layering them, because you can get, there's some kicks, like if you're talking about a sub kick sample, there's some kicks which have a really nice click, but the rest of it is like dull. So what you want to do is literally just chop. I do a lot of chopping of samples. Just chop the top kick that you like, add it to a different sub bass, sidechain it, and just add layers, but make sure you're EQing them, getting rid of the bits you don't want from the other kicks. To get some one shots, like I don't know if you guys know about an old track I did called Cobra, K-O-B-R-A-H. I gave away that kick in a sample pack, and what I did was I used a one shot, or 2 or 3 one shots, and put them on top, because it just give it a weird sound. It's just adding weird sounds. That's all you need to do to make something sound different and unique. camera on there, sorry. Super dull. Are you going to be at Tomorrowland this year? No, I'm not. Hopefully one Tomorrowland soon. Important plugins for bass drops. I would say Serum is the most important if you're going to make bass house or something like that, because the bass sounds in there are incredible. It's the best VST I've ever used, so I recommend it definitely. Manuel says you should do some promo check streams. I'm definitely going to do that soon. It's something that I've always wanted to do because I get sent a lot of cool music, and a lot of you guys do ask me for feedback, but I can't give one person feedback on Twitter because everyone will ask. So I'm going to do a stream like this where I can go through and just give you guys feedback, see if I can help you guys out. Ali, is there any plans to be back in Glasgow? I hope so. I love Glasgow. Hopefully I'll be back there soon. Any more questions? Roger, Ed Sheeran, Shape of You bootleg. I haven't actually made a bootleg of that. There's a lot of bootlegs, so I'm not going to make one because I've got one I play in my sets. Sean, would you want to play in Ireland? I've played in Ireland 6 times, I think. I'm in Ireland a lot, so make sure you check out my socials and stuff because I'm back there very soon. Hopefully see you there. We're actually out of time, so for more info, you can check my socials: Facebook/OllyJamesMusic, SoundCloud @OllyJamesMusic, and Twitter is @OllyJames. And just keep up to date with me. I'm always talking about new shows, new tracks and stuff, so make sure you keep up to date with me there. So thanks for coming to stream. If you've got any questions, just tweet me and I'll answer them. Yeah guys, so I'll see you next time. Thank you.